So I'm going to talk a little bit about like agentic AI. So a lot of people actually keep talking AI in this conference. Not only this conference, any other conferences. Everybody's saying agentic AI, among others, LLM, and RAG or function. It's inevitable. So, but I'm going to try to approach it more developer experience standpoint rather than, okay, you can go to some fancy platform or a framework. You can just select whatever you want and then you just use that. Or you can just upload your document, PDF file, text file, or any kind of file, and it automatically ingests and retrieve your document for RAG capability. So everything is out of the box, or you don't understand what's going on behind the scene. So as an application developer, and then I'm going to try to showcase how it works and what that looks like. I got a few questions before I get started. How many people actually some Java experience? Fantastic. And then how many of them actually heard about Quarkus before? Okay. And then what about LangChain project? Nice. And the MCP, Model Context Protocol. That's nice. Okay. Pretty easy today. So Daniel, I'm from Boston, United States. It's a long flight, but I'm super happy back to be here. It's third time I'm here to present and meet a lot of people. So I got to do a lot of stuff here. So if you're interested in or some question about some kind of community contribution, like a Java Champion, CNCF, among others, yeah, please contact me directly. I have a social media handler, Daniel030. There are a lot of Daniel around the world. So I try to find out Daniel and 1, 2, 3, 4, and I end up with 30. So this is Daniel030 and X, Blue Sky, Twitter, YouTube, and GitHub. So today I'm going to show some live demo most of the time. You can go to my GitHub repo with this Daniel030. You can fork and then you can steal whatever you want, and then just like that. So many people define so many different ways what agents are and what agents are. And there are many kinds of definitions. There's no standard right now. That's true. So for example, you can go to cloud with the Kubernetes. Kubernetes is a standard way how to containerize your application and deploy into a container platform. That is a de facto and standard. But in the AI space, the agent, so many different ways to define. So some people define, but this is just some more fundamental stuff, even if not standard. So agent is some kind of program or system try to do something for you as a human being, just like a human assistant. If you're a super fan of like a Marvel movie, you probably watch it Iron Man. Iron Man have like a agentic AI assistant, which is a Jarvis. So Iron Man, Tony Stark, just ask whatever he wants, and then the agentic AI, the Jarvis, they just follow the rules. That is exactly agent. And then, so agent actually can be built like a program system with some autonomy, rather than you can guide them, hey, you need to go to this fantastic LLM, like for example, the DeepSeek R1 or the ChatGPT or among others. And then once you go to LLM and back to the tools like email, database, or messaging, whatever you want, and then back to the second LLM, so you can actually create some kind of workflow. That is not LLM stuff. That is not agent. So what is an agentic AI application? So we can define agent, some of the stuff. The agentic AI application is really you can build and create the agent with your own preferred language programming. If you are a Java developer, you can develop agentic AI with Java. If you are a Python developer, you can develop the Python. In JavaScript, .NET, C#, whatever you call that, but you eventually create the agent application that we call the agentic application. So here's a few things that a lot of people are curious about. So when we actually use agents, so this is some kind of use cases, and you can see that automated task, whenever you try to do something, do as your daily job more than once, like a repeatable continuously, you can ask your personal assistant, like an agent, hey, can you do that for me, like automated way? I don't know how it works, but I just need you to make it happen. That is an automated task or personalized user experience, just like you already use every single day. If you're using iPhone, you have a Siri. If you have some Amazon product, you can have probably Alexa or Google, any AI application on your phone. That is an agent for personalized. So some people said, oh, so whenever I try to say something and then my iPhone Siri actually keep listening my stuff, and then it pop up somebody like an advertisement on my YouTube channel or some web browser. So that is all personal stuff. And then intelligence assistant, all kind of things you probably already use it daily life. And then here is something interesting, like some evolution. So decades ago, there are some AI already there, like a predictive AI, like based on machine learning, deep learning, or MLOps. And a lot of finance company, like insurance company, bank company, they already adopted predictive AI for many years ago. They just identify unusual or abnormal some transaction. Oh, there's something kind of a fraud, and they actually fraud detection, and then monitor and then report that is some kind of result into like some decision maker. There's a predictive AI. And 2.5 years ago, ChatGPT unleashed upon the world to provide a generative AI. That is a Gen AI. You're probably using like a chatbot, like or ChatGPT or Google Gemini or Grok. There are many kind of stuff. Now we are moving to Agentic AI. So Agentic AI, as you mentioned earlier, it's not just one agent, it's a multiple agents. So how do we actually building block for Agentic AI application to create agents? Agent could be 1, could be 1,000, could be 100. It depends on your use cases. So basically, in the previous talk, someone actually attended that. He mentioned a lot of LLM stuff. LLM basically just in and out. You can ask, which you do say prompt or user input or question. You can just input and LLM just try to find a solution and send it back to you as a user. That's a simple thing. And then, so in behind the scene, there are a lot of things going on. So you can use like a RAG, like a retrieval augmented generation. So try to ingest your document, the business specific document, because you cannot do fine tuning every single time you want to change something on your LLM stuff. It's really high expensive, but also it takes a lot of time. And you also need to some special knowledge from data scientists. They changed their job title recently, like AI engineer, like some fancy name. Anyway, so there are things in the tools, like AKA like a function called links, and then like a memory retrieval. There are all kind of stuff happening in the LLM. But when you actually let LLM decide which external resources the LLM can use, that is to make your application become agent. So as you mentioned earlier, so you can really define your AI infused or AI power application, like a Java, .NET, Python, whatever you use that. And then, okay, you can go to like a GPT Mini or 4.0 Mini model and ask some question from like a user prompt. And then once you got the return, and then, I'm going to try to parse that result based on JSON format, and then I'm going to store some of the data into my database. At the same time, I'm going to call my messaging broker to expose this data to my third-party company. So this is a really workflow, and you know how to define the workflow, just like a business algorithm. That's you would just add LLM. As a developer standpoint, LLM is just one of external services. You already connect to database. You already connect to messaging broker. You already connect to some REST API or gRPC API. So there are many external services. Now you have one more external service, that is LLM. SFM, LLM, doesn't matter. You always need to just REST API or gRPC, and then credential, permission. How do I access that? And then what kind of permission I can have? and how many times I can call that LLM, and then like a token size, some of the more details. But it's an external thing. And then develop a sample. Okay, I have one more external service with the LLM, with the database messaging broker, among others. And now I try to design my application. I'm going to go this A, B, C, D, X, Y, Z, but that's not agent. So because it's another AI application, so you already design the fixed flow. You can say workflow, you can say like some business logic. But agent just let LLM, hey, you can use like 10 available tools or external services. And I'm not going to tell you which one you're going to use there first. Just decide whatever he or she wants. That is agent. Autonomy, that is a real definition, autonomy. So that's why you can see that this is just some of the example of agentic AI application. Pretty good match it to age use cases. Like some personal and home, smart home system, robotic. So you can go to like a home, you have some like a home automation stuff. You can have like some prog based on USB-C prog and like Alexa stuff or Google Home, thing like that. And now you don't need to use a remote controller. You just tell them, hey, turn in light and then turn off the AC, or you can say whatever you want. That is literally agent, but you're not saying, hey, you need to call some RESTful API to my TV set box. So you're not going to say that. So here is just some kind of differentiation between traditional application and new agentic AI application. A lot of people misunderstand, agentic AI, we can say it's 100% autonomous thing, just like Jarvis in the Marvel movie, but that's not reality. So we are not there yet, unfortunately. So agentic application is somewhere between traditional application and 100% like a non-predictive application. So non-predictive application, for example, you got some meeting with your manager, like a one-on-one call, like some negotiating your like a salary increase or something other stuff. But you cannot expect what's going on coming out after a meeting. So it's 100% unpredictable. And predictable traditional application, what is my bank account? You can just access the database and you can see the number of money. That's exactly predictable. So agentic application is still between somewhere. So once technology evolves at some point in the future, so agentic application could be 100% predictable application. So a lot of people ask me, so what kind of design pattern I'm going to use to design agentic AI application? Doesn't matter, Java, Python, or whatever you use. So reflection is literally you're going to try to evaluate it, why the LLM actually returned that result. For example, it's not exactly the same concept of reasoning thinking. So DeepSeek R1 is a great model to use the reasoning thinking rather than fine-tuning, alignment tuning stuff. So fine-tuning is literally you change a fundamental model just to teach them with some new knowledge and skill set. That is a fine-tuning stuff. It's a depends on the number of parameter, and then you can say fine-tuning, you can say alignment tuning. But the thing is, you have actually teach the fundamental model. But reasoning thinking without fine-tuning, you're gonna read LLM. Why you try to send back that result? Like a human being, like a keep thinking continuously and repeatedly. That is a reflection. And tool use, as I mentioned earlier, you can use a lot of tools like a database, a messaging broker, and a searching or a Slack or any kind of tools. That is how many tools you can use autonomously. That is another design pattern and the planning, like a more multi-step plan. When you find out solution, you try to make some multiple step plan. I'm gonna try to go to this thing, and then once I got result, and then go to next thing. So just like a human being, when you try to solve like a math, like in the middle school, high school, how to solve the problem. You just make some plan. Okay, I'm going to do the first step. And then once I clear and the second step, third step, you already know that is like a mathematical, like a formula or some like a practices. So you really let LLM make the same pattern, same practice. That is planning. And then lastly, multi-agent collaboration. So this is most AI companies, they wanted to go here, like a multi-agents. So everybody has their own agent. I have my own Jarvis. You have your own Jarvis. And then I need to make some arrangement, like a dinner meeting with my team, like a full of a party. And then I'm not going to ask each one of them, hey, when you're available in a Friday night or Saturday morning or something like that. And then I just ask my agent, Jarvis. And then my agent ask your agent, not you. As an agent, they keep collaborating. Hey, my master is now available in the Friday night. He's going to the club, something like that. And then each agent, maybe their own priority or some urgency. Maybe that's why you have maybe another agent, like an orchestrator or agent or manager, something like that. So, but in the user's perspective, as a human being, you don't know that how many agents are there. You just ask your own agent. So agent, they have some like a topology, like some collaboration, like a peer-to-peer or like a pipeline stuff or orchestrator or hierarchy like a thing. So it depends on your agent stuff. And then how to get started as a developer. And then so developer always looking forward to some great tool, convenient tool, and some framework. Like for example, Java is a Spring, Quarkus, or Helidon, or Jacquerie. There are many frameworks. It already you use like some wrapping class, and API, and SDK. You don't need to implement from scratch. So that is the beauty of the frameworks. And then when you're searching like a framework for agentic AI application development, you can find there are many kinds of stuff like AutoGen from Microsoft, AutoGPT, Crow AI, or LangChain, like a little bit from LangGraph, and the Agentic AI. There are many kinds of stuff. So the problem is, it's not relevant to Java application, not designed for Java, most likely Python. So today I'm going to presenting how Java developer actually start with this agentic AI application development. Agentic application, you can use like a Java framework. You can actually use Spring Boot as well. And then the reason why I'm using Quarkus is that Quarkus actually integrate a LangChain4j and a model context protocol as like a Quarkus extension. So with that, you don't need to actually add some Java code. It's based on configuration model pattern or practices. You just set configuration like a key and value, your property file or YAML file, and Quarkus wrapping up, and then automatically start some sub process for like a MCP provider, and then wrapping into your LangChain4j, and then auto wire into your AI application. So someone already know the model context protocol. So MCP is invented by Anthropic, one of the AI company recently is super popular right now. So they have some concern because you already know, if you go to Hugging Face today, how many model they already posted? Do you know how many model is there in the Hugging Face? Is there more than 1.6 million model? It's every single day more than 100 model posted and pushed in there. And then you have many application and many like API, like inference API, REST API, or TLS, and then gRPC and so on. So you can have a free will use any front application, even Java, Python, .NET, or JavaScript. And then in the other many other LLMs. How do you communicate? It's so many LLMs and then your application with so many different specifications. That's why Anthropic find this protocol. This is some standard protocol between AI application and models. So just imagine that you have a laptop and a desktop, and you have multiple external devices like audio, video, and microphone, and then a flash drive, thumb drive, and then Thunderbolt cable, among others. How to connect? You have a multiple adapter. Hey, this is a USB, USB-A-C, or HDMI, or some audio, and among others. So if you could have some kind of multi-adapter, like and then only USB-C port, and then you don't need to worry about some multiple model collaboration. That is the concept of MCP. But in order to use MCP in like any other Java framework, like a Spring Boot, as well as like a JavaScript, Python, you always need to invent like a wrapper class or wrapper source code, how to use the MCP protocol on your program language. So Quarkus Java framework integrate MCP as like a Maven library or a graduate module, and then which you don't need to worry about what kind of Java code you need to inject your method level. Just 0. And then you just set it on computer. I'm going to show that in a minute in my demo. And you can also, so when you go to MCP project, like a Modern Context Protocol GitHub repository, you can find more than 200 or 300 MCP servers already there. So many MCP servers externally. So how do you connect to external MCP server? You just have some like how to run it, and like a command line, and also like a credential. Okay, when you access to OpenAI like a model, you have to your own API key. Exactly same thing. You have your own like API key for multiple MCP server. But even if there are 100 multiple MCP server out there as open source, but sometimes you cannot find the right one for your AI application in your company. So how do you implement MCP server? So Quarkus actually allow you to create a custom MCP server, automatically generate like a server processor on your machine or MCP, and then overriding logo handling, just like Log4j stuff. So it literally you can grab all telemetry data from like MCP communication, and then like a visualize like a Grafana or some of the stuff. And then there are many Quarkus capability you can have it. So I'm gonna go to demo. So for that, if you have any question, just let me know. I'm happy to address that question. So this is my Quarkus application. I already created a new one, and it's pretty simple. Hopefully everybody see that. So here is my AI application. All of it is very simple. You can see that this is the interface from LangChain project integration. I just need one single annotation, register AI service. This annotation make the plain interface to AI application. Very simple. One annotation, and the two more annotation. One is a system message. This is your prompt engineering. So how to create the prompt engineering on my Java application? So one is a system message. This is the initial sending message to your LLM. Will define the scope of LLM as well as make some behavior LLM. For example, so I'm going to say here, you are helpful personal assistant and executing task as a request. And if you say, oh, you are like a 16 teenage girl, you're always angry, and then you are super mean, and then never ever kind to people. And then you're going to ask some question, and literally LLM answer very angry person behavior. So this is the initial message, and then you can actually have a user messages every time you're going to prompt ask a question. It actually sends it to LLM and wrapping out the user message annotation. Excuse me. And then I'm going to set it up a few more sentences here as a text. My system message to define the LLM scope. And then what will be interesting here, this instruction are automatically active for all conversation. And then here are you have tools interact with the user calendar, and then all look up the current date and some of the some definition. And then I don't have any, and then here's the most important part. All available tools will be utilized as needed without requiring explicit activation. So this is really how my application, not just a general AI application, it's a more agentic application. I'm going to let my LLM how many variable tools available, but I'm not going to say you're going to use tool A or tool B. I'm not going to say any order. So tools all utilized without any explicit activation. So how do I let my LLM knows what kind of tools available? So when I go to application property here, and then I just said here, this is a MCP configuration. So Quarkus LangChain pose a MCP that is like a keyword, and then the other one is the MCP server name. So this is all open source, like a file system, memory, Google Maps, and then Brave Search. This is like a open source version, like a Google Search, and then like a Slack and Time. So there are many kinds of stuff. So at least I have like a 6 like a MCP server, and then whenever I ask something as a user prompt, and then LLM will decide which tools do they gonna the LLM invoke first. It's a totally decided by LLM, not me, not my application. So application, my AI agentic application just got the answer from LLM, but in the meantime, LLM just communicate these multiple tools autonomously. But my Java application, I just said just 2 or 3 lines for each LLM server, like how to run this kind of stuff. So Quarkus just run this npm command line to run MCP server on my local machine as a server processor, rather than I manually run this MCP server somewhere out there on my local machine manually. So this kind of stuff, that's it. That's all thing. I just said pretty simple, 1 Java code and 1 configuration. That's it. Of course, there are some key and value. I just hide it. I don't want to expose my secret key. So let me try to start. So Quarkus demo, which is give me some live coding capability. Whenever I change my code, I don't need to recompile, rebuild, restart my application. It automatically started. For me, it really reduce my developer time, like in the process. So it's really great time. Here's my another MCP, and then I'm gonna use Empowerment, and then you can see that there are OTL, OpenTelemetry, test container automatically startup. So that is Quarkus Dev Services. It automatically start test container without any configuration or any Java code. So Quarkus just integrate test container as out of box feature. So how Quarkus actually start that test container stuff? It just depends on your POM XML for Maven project. If you say like a PostgreSQL dependency somewhere here, and Quarkus automatically start PostSQL, and then you Quarkus hide the fundamental necessary key and value. For example, like a JDBC URL and username, password. You don't need to memorize your key and value. You could just copy from like a Quarkus device, something like that. Okay, this Quarkus is starting right now. By the way, I'm using Java 24. How many people are actually using Java 24 right now? No one? Fantastic. Okay. Okay. So here is my POM XL. I'm using Java 24 here. And then there are LangChain4j, MCP, Maven. And then here's OpenTelemetry. This is automatically stand up like OpenTelemetry and Grafana and some tempo for like logging, among others. And then, so when I go to, this is a dev UI. There are, you can see that LangChain4j, among others, and then here to chat. So you can see that my system message around here. So sometimes as a developer, Java developer, I'm not ready to develop front-end application or fancy UI, but I still need to verify my AI application if communicate with my LLM correctly. So the dev UI is automatically provided some kind of a chat UI, so you don't need to have a front-end application yet, but you could still prompt engineering experimental stuff here. So when I go back to application one more time and application property, I can set more some of the stuff here. I'm using OpenAI API for like a GPT-4o mini, and here are some of the configuration about my logging stuff. And then go back to here, and then like a dev service, you can see that automatically set up this kind of stuff, but I don't see this configuration in my local file system. So here is open telemetry, and then go to dashboard and explore. I'm gonna go to tempo for logging stuff and searchy. Let me try to a little bit bigger. Okay, so nothing here. And then when I go to landing page, this is my personal assistant, like a personal assistant dashboard. And here's my chatbot stuff. And I go to try to. You can see that when I access that front-end application, you can see that there are dashboard. There's like something like happened. The interesting part, the front-end application, I'm not a JavaScript developer, so I just ask ChatGPT and code generation, make some great stuff, and this is what happened here. And I think so. Most people are actually using like AI stuff, Gen AI, to code generation these days. That is fantastic. So I have some like some question here. Readme file. Okay, here's my question. So I'm gonna enter, and you can see that behind the scene there are many logs, many logs happening, and so many tools and communication on all of that. So what is my question here is, so my name is Daniel. I'm a member of a team of two, myself and James. I like Indian food. And Daniel is a strict gluten-free diet. It's all fake, not me, just fake Daniel, like a Daniel 29. And then please find one good restaurant in Bangalore with the highest rating. I'm not going to go to some restaurant like a 3.5 Google rating. So more than like a 4.5, something like that. And team dietary needs and preference. And then 12 p.m. next Friday. And then the driving, I need to time and driving direction from Sheraton Bangalore Hotel in the at Bridge Gateway, which is I really stay in that hotel. Okay, I think there's so many happening when I talk. And back to the UI, now I can see that, there are some restaurant. I don't know how many people actually visited this restaurant before, baked in Bangalore, and the Shanghai Spa Cuisine, Cattle Cloud Kitchen, and native table at Go Native, in a Burma restaurant and tea room. Hopefully this is a good restaurant. And then when I go to here, I can actually ask something like send it to restaurant recommendation detail to Slack channel lunchtime. So here's my Slack channel lunchtime. I don't have any message yet. And then go to here, my landing page, and then enter. And then back to the ID tool. Now you can see that there are so many stuff happening. And then it takes time. So, and it will, now I have sent it to gluten-free to Slack channel. And I go to Slack. Now I can see that now Slack channel. If I go to URL, one of the kind of stuff, and then it will pop up some of the gluten-free restaurant in Bangalore, India. And then I see there are many 5 stars. I'm not going to less than 3.5 star. So that's good to me. Maybe it's worth giving it a try. And then you can see that there are many graphical stuff and review, which is just awesome. And then when I go back to my telemetry stuff, I'm going to refresh. And then one of the things is here is a completion GPT-4 mini. This is probably the right one. And then there are many communication. If I go to one's logs, and it's a pretty small though, and then you can see that you are helping person. This is a system message, and then you can see the function Brave web search, and then a system function Brave web search is a keep search back to back because not just Indian restaurant. I give so many conditions: Indian restaurant, gluten free, and then rating highest rating, and also close to my Sheraton hotel. So that's why I keep searching. Just like you, when you searching Googling, some ask us a question or find some, you cannot find just one search. You could keep searching over and over again. That's exactly my AI agent application, just like that, using LLM stuff. So when I go to IDE, and then if I try to create like a Google Calendar, and then under the playground calendar, and I don't see the playground, the calendar directory right now, and I go back to here and ask one more time, I can actually inject Google Calendar right away, but I just want to make sure the calendar is right. And then when I go back to my local files, then now I can see that calendar directory, and then you can see the ICS file automatically generate. I can also call the Google Calendar MCP server, connect to my own Google Calendar account with just my credential, and it automatically creates my Google Calendar. So you can just ask this all kind of stuff once, and then the agentic application communicate a lot of tools, and then will return some of the stuff. So when I go back to one more time, and then ask that thing again, and then I'm gonna ask one interesting part, like what action did you take each step? Which tool did you use? So because it's one of the MCP server, which is a memory. So whenever the LLM decide I'm gonna invoke this tool, and then it store that information into memory, and then rather than answer back to human being right away, just a rethinking, just a reproduction, just trace down your memory tree. And okay, I already found this one, and then I'm gonna go to find the next one relevant to this one. That's the memory stuff. That's why I can ask the same thing. So this is some of the stuff here. And then if I ask that question, and then you can see that, first of all, I'm going to web search information using function Brave web search. And then I'm going to do that, get direction for the map direction. And I'm going to go to Slack channel to send it to the message Slack. So this is LLM autonomously decide I'm going to go to web search or backend back or some of the stuff. So I'm going to ask my Agent AI application, hey, so how do you end up with this result? Which tool you want to use for each step? So, and then you can figure it out and how that works. So that's one of the kind of stuff. And then one more thing is, so as one Java developer, you just done your application development for new agentic AI app with a very small code. I can actually, you can add like a guardrail for like a verification. On top of that, I just skip that to limit of time. But you can actually do that when I go to bot, and then I actually comment out the guardrail stuff. But you can actually add the guardrail on your agentic AI application to verify. So when you answer some LLM, even if agentic stuff, but you have to filter out some of the like IPP stuff or sensitive thing or some security stuff. That is some of the feature of the guardrail. And then once you just done, okay, my application done, and then how do you share your application with your team member as a developer team? Traditionally, you can just source commit and push in your centralized Git repo, and then a lot of people, okay, just go to get repo and then clone again or fill, and then just try run again. But the problem is here. So there are many settings like a Java version or Maven version, a Quarkus version, among others. But you cannot expect your team member have exactly same tool setting on their local machine. So that's why the internal developer portal came out to give us some more sandbox workspace for each developer. So, but that the IDP, Internal Developer Portal, most likely based on Backstage, one of the CNCF project or among other open source project. But key thing is there are many YAML files to stand up your workspace, and then a Scaffolding Java project or among other language framework, and then like a configuration like of using ham chart and YAML and so on. So that is one of the big challenge developer. I just done my job. Why do I do that to create so many YAML files? So Quarkus actually provides some Backstage extension. So let me try to create, probably it's too small. Create a new app like a Quarkus Backstage, and then go to Backstage. Let me try to stop this one. Okay, okay, this is stop. So if I just run Quark step, this is just a hello world, the simple project. When you go to Maven, the just hello world, so go to dev UI, and then you can see that just one REST API endpoint, like a hello, and then you can see that hello from Quarkus REST. That's it. So this is let's say I'm not going to do complex one. I'm going to show that just in a minute. But this is like let's say I have a simple Java application, like an AI application, and now let's say I'm just done my AI application. I just need to create like a software template to share like an internal developer portal. And then after that, any other my team member just access that developer portal using their user ID and password, and then create a new software template. And then that exactly gives some like my local environment experience, same thing. So when I go back to ID tool and try to add one thing like a Backstage extension, and then probably I'm gonna try to change my Java version, and then one application property here, like a Quarkus Backstage. Just two things. One is I'm gonna try to install dev template, and then I'm gonna just make a enable first default template. This is a more dev environment, and then here's I'm gonna try to use there's no Podman test container. When I stop Quarkus dev mode, so running on all test container automatic stop. I don't need to use a Podman or Docker CLI. And if I just run Quarkus dev again, and then you can see that new test container automatically start up like a Git. It's like a local Git repo to communicate internal developer portal. And then it also creates one more like a Backstage container. As you can see, automatically download the container image from container registry. Now you can see that here's a Backstage container automatically download. And then I'm going to try to give us a few minutes, maybe a couple seconds. Now here we go. And now you can see that there are Backstage, and then just automatic start. This is my Backstage based on my Scaffolding project. Because when I go back to my local file system, you can see that the Backstage folder automatically generate from my Scaffolding. So here's a dev template and the Scaffolding, which is a config like a YAML file, and then go to source directory, which is exactly same my application here. So it's automatically create a Scaffolding project and a bunch of the YAML file for me. And then when I go to create, and then create my Backstage dev in my and a like application like a Git, and try to create, and then put in some Maven artifact ID, some of the stuff I'm gonna leave default, and then my Git, because my old application already communicate my own Git repo, which is automatically create a new one. And then when I create the stuff, and then it will take a few seconds, and then you can see that. So my new application just created that kind of stuff. So I already created my existing demo application, Agentic application, pretty complicated. As you can see, there are many MCP stuff. So I already created YAML based on this extension, and then deploy my cloud environment. This is a Red Hat Developer Hub based on Backstage, and then you can see that I have one software template for like Agentic AI application. When I click on create a new one, something like user 2, and then create the next. I'm going to use some Quay container registry and AI model. I'm going to use it for my demo, just like a GPT-4 mini. And then I'm going to use select MCP server, something like a time, whatever, memory, select, something like that. And then here is some repository location, and then create a new one. And it will create many tools for me, not only application deployment, but also like a cloud IDE, and then my own Git repo. When I go to Git view source, you can see that this is my user 2, and then my own application. So you don't need to fork from like a centralized stuff. It automatically fork for me. So this is a Git repo only for you. Whatever you change is only for you. And then my ID, this is my cloud ID, like a VS Code in IntelliJ, whatever you want. And then it automatically show up and start from here. And then you can also just stand up same environment as your colleague already stand up, like the chatbot application, just like here, as you can see that. So that's it. And then the CI, it little bit take a few seconds, and probably 1 or 2 minutes. Patch repository, just fork repository in the Maven build, and then containerize and deploy. And then once it's done, and then go to topology view, you will see that the Quarkus application scale to 1, and then go to X endpoint, like a front-end application. You will see exactly same front-end application, just like I showed in my local machine. So that's it. I'm going to revisit. I have a few slides to wrap it up. So this is a demo architecture. I want to show that how the MCP works. And then a few things, the model context protocol, some kind of roadmap. As I mentioned earlier, excuse me, there are more than 100 MCP servers right now. How do you discover, how to find the right one? That's why MCP, they're going to create a new registry, like some Docker registry or some kind of a container registry. It's you find the easy MCP server available. That is the MCP registry. And the more advanced agentic architecture and capability, like a retrieve some graph tree, like agent graphs, or more interactive workflow. Like I mentioned earlier, like a multi-agent architecture is really a same concept to more interactive workflow and then multi-modality. So not just only chatbot, but also like generate image or video or even streaming. So this is another great use case. So you want to just ask text or a bubble voice, and it automatically generate a video image or some graphical like a image, like a Ghibli, some studio, one of the popular, or some like your some figure stuff right now. So that's the thing. So here's our 3 takeaway today. So when agentic AI development is so complex, and it takes a lot of time to make it happen. So cloud native scaffolding, like once your job done, how do you create some software template to share your co-workers? That is a software template, which is just so much easier for make it happen. And last thing is you can put together all kind of capability using Java still, Quarkus and LangChain4j and MCP integration, and each enable you to have a more easier AI application development. So I think that's it. When I go back to here and now application, it's just deploy, and then you got to go, and then you have a same application right now. And then your team member not start from here to ask some of the stuff, how current application works, and now start and then open back to Cloud IDE, just like here, and then create some branch and then change some of the you want, like add a new Agentic AI on the application, and then push the code, and then verify, and then re-update the software template, and now under your coworker start more easy peasy AI Agentic AI application development experience. That's it. Thank you so much, and I'm going to stick around. Please let me know if you have any questions.